exactly we want to discuss today is like how do we perform the DML operations using PL/SQL API. So like one basic thing is like here when we already have entity object concept, what is the need of using a PL/SQL API, right? We already have entity object where we can use to perform the DML operations. Then what is the need of this particular concept? What is the need of calling the PL/SQL API from the OAF? So first basic reason is, like here, there are chances you may need to perform lot number of validations on a custom particular functionality. So in those kind of scenarios, it is better that we can call the PL/SQL API and perform the insertion there. Or it could be, maybe you already have a legacy API which is already available, which is used in across, and you just want to use the same thing rather than implementing your own Java logic, right? Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So the first basic key reason could be like if intensive PL/SQL like intensive DB validations required, then we have to go with the PL/SQL validation. Let us say while performing insertion, you want to validate that particular data with like a lot number of database calls. Then it is preferable better write all the logic in the DB rather than having the entity concept. It's either way. We can't say this is correct or that is correct, but either way we can do. Or maybe like let us say readily available PL/SQL API with total validations. Let us say already you have a PL/SQL validation which are already implemented ready-made, and you just need to call them, right? Rather than performing your own logic, right?
Right.
So in those kind of scenarios, we try to use the PL/SQL logic, or maybe like during OAF extensions. So preferably when you are working on OAF extension, like maybe a CO extension or VO extension, if you want to perform some validations, we just prefer to call the PL/SQL rather than writing the the new vivos, performing a substitution or those kind of things. Okay, so that's the reason we always prefer to see here, like it's not just for calling for purpose of DML, it can be for validation purpose also. It can be a DML operations or maybe DB validations. Okay,
Okay.
these are the two major purposes. Now our concentration initially as of now is DB, I meant to say DML operations. As of now, the main concentration is DML operation, like how do you perform insert or update, delete using a PL/SQL API. So there are two ways of performing. There are two ways of performing DML operation using the OAF Vivo logic, okay, and you using the OAF Evo logic. There are two ways again. So here in the Vivo logic, what we do is like we will read the Vivo data, and for each row, call the PL/SQL API. And here the developer has to manually verify which record is for insertion or which record is for the updation or deletion. Developer has to call the API appropriately. You will not have any logic. Ready-made logic to validate whether the record is for the insertion purpose, whether the record is for the update purpose, all those things. Developer has to manually validate. But in the Evo logic, like a ready-made API is available which calls the appropriate PL/SQL API. I mean to say, we does not need to write, no need to write, no need to it's already a API available. So do insert, which is for the purpose of while like record insertion. Okay, like something is for the update, like a record updation purpose, delete purpose. There is one more API method called delete method, which we call it during the record delete purpose. So when you insert a record in the Vivo, we don't have any Java API to validate whether the record is coming from the database or the record is inserted by the user. We don't have that logic as of now in the Vivo, but in the Evo we have that. Okay, so initially what we do is we'll try to perform the insertion using the Vivo logic. Once we do the Vivo logic, you'll understand exactly what we are trying to do. The basic thing is we want to perform the insertion now without using any entity object. We just want to follow the first logic. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So I'll just say emp insert using emp DML using PL/SQL. This is the page name. And if you consider the model stuff, view, and
And
yeah, CEO, AMP table page, CO. And in the model layer, what all we require? AM, and we require just Vivo, no Evo. Okay, Evo is not required in this case because we want to perform DML using
yes.
PL/SQL API. Let me show the PL/SQL API also for you. Let me show that. Spec, okay, body, okay. So if you see the specification, I just have a separate method for the insertion, separate method for the update, and there is one more method for the there's a function to get the count. Last one is delete. So we have three procedures, one function. Okay, insertion, updation, deletion, and there is one function. Clear? And if you see, each and every procedure is having set of input parameters as well as output parameters also. We have an output parameter to just return the status of the DB call, whether we are able to call successfully or not, or what is the status of insertion or maybe updation or deletion. Just the the status of the appropriate procedure call. Okay, if you see the logic, it's very very simple. Nothing, no complex logic is there. Just a simple insert statement as well as record status. If it is error, we just say exception when other than some error. Okay,
Okay.
right? So that's how it is there for the updation also. Update, same thing. And function also, function just a select query return, and deletion just a simple deletion. Okay, so in the deletion I don't have any. Yeah,
Instead of Java logic, we have to using the PLSQL code, right?
yes, instead of writing the total instead of using the entity object concept, we are just using the PL/SQL concept here.
Yes.
Whenever you click on save, whenever generally what we know, whenever you in the Vivo insertion of Vivo, we know that, right? Java method, we use it. But when you click on a save, it will call the entity object to perform the database insertions, right? The entity object automatically
Yes.
generates that. So rather than using entity object, we want to call the PL/SQL API externally. Like when a user clicks on save, we have to call this particular PL/SQL API and perform the insertion and update the database. That is what we are doing now.
Okay. Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
So now in this case, what we do is here, how do we call the PL/SQL API? So to call the PL/SQL API in the Java logic, we have some concept maybe if you're aware or not. So there's a concept called JDBC, Java
KDBC.
Database Connectivity, right? So it provides set of APIs, Java APIs to call the PL/SQL, Oracle database functionality. Maybe it can be procedure, function, select query. Many database calls you can do it using JDBC API. Okay. So now let's start our Vivo now. So let us see if we already have the Vivo, else we will create that. So we already have the Vivo, right? EMP Vivo. We can just make use of this particular Vivo. Okay. So we already have a Vivo called EMP, right? Employee Vivo.
Okay.
And we already have the AM, Cisco, BIS Services AM. Now we just need to create the page as well as CVO. New, OA components and page. And set the default properties and create a controller also. Set the controller. Okay. So this is a basic thing which we generally do it. Now, what we here, where is that? Yeah, here.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So here in this one, what I will do is I'll just create a header region, and below header region, just create a table region using a wizard. Create a table region using a wizard, which will display all the employee data. EMP Vivo 1, right? Next,
Yes.
table region,
Okay.
EMP table region. Next. So I'll just mention some parameters: height, dates, salary, commission, department number. Remaining things I just ignore. Next. Okay. These are all should be message text input, and data types we should not change. It has to be by default whatever it is available in database. It will retrieve those data types here and finish. Okay. Now what we do? We just require insert, save as well as delete. So on this table region, have a table actions. Click on new table actions and create 3 buttons. Create 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So insert row, insert, and save. Last one is delete. Okay, delete.
Okay.
Now, first basic thing is what we require. We just want to show the data on the page load. We just want to show the data on the page load. So we'll just write an initialization logic now. Okay. Public void initialize EMP Vivo. Be careful, like we have the same method, EMP Evo Vivo is there and the normal Vivo is there. Okay, so in these kind of things we have to be very much careful which one we are using. Now call this method from the process request of the page. Okay, so this is very simple. So it will just initialize the Vivo, you'll get all the data during the page load. Now what is the other logic we require? We have to write the logic for the insertion, we have to write the logic for the updation, and we also require to write the logic for the deletion also. Okay, so initially our concentration is on the insertion purpose. The initial concentration is on the insertion purpose. Now we require the row IMPL also, isn't it? We require row IMPL also. On the EMP Vivo, double click and click on Java, generate the Vivo row IMPL also. Click on apply and OK. So now what we have to do is let us write the logic. Let us write the logic for the Vivo insertion. It's just a simple row insertion, right? Public void insert EMP row. So can you tell me what all we have to write now?
EMP Vivo, yeah, IMPL.
Okay. Then?
The row IMPL, EMP Vivo row.
Okay.
Internal.
Okay. Then?
Row dot create row.
Yeah, row is equal to Vivo dot create row and row dot set new row status, row dot status initialize. Then Vivo dot set row and row. So if you want to set the parameters before insertion, set the parameters and then do it. Okay, else simply just perform Vivo dot insert row. This logic will insert the row in the database or Vivo. This logic is what this logic, what the 3 lines out of code what we have written is for the purpose of inserting a row in the database or the Vivo.
Inserting the row in the Vivo.
So what does it mean? Will it insert the data in the database or not?
No.
So then where the data will be?
The Vivo.
So Vivo is not database. So what does Vivo is all about? Vivo is not database. Then where does Vivo store the data? Till the data is confirmed in the database, where it will be available? In the application server, right?
Yes.
So when you run the page, the Java application server has to maintain all the cache. The application server will maintain all the data, right? This is Java. Vivo is nothing. Vivo is related to Java logic, right? So Java logic, what are the data which have in the Java logic, simply will be available in the application server. It will not hit the database, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
right? Perfect. Okay. Now let's call this one if page context dot insert row.
Insert row.
Right? Simply call the insert
Yes.
emp row. Ambiguous reference. Are there two rows? Are there two methods? I guess. I think the okay. Insert emp row. I'll just say for PL SQL. I'll just change it. Okay, because it is having ambiguous reference, so I'll just change it. Change the method name. Okay. So let us see what exactly it will work now. The EMP DML sample using PL SQL. Okay, so it seems it is having around 5 rows only, right? So now let's click on insert and see what will happen. Okay, we got exception. Let's see. Read only view object exception and is read only. It says it is read only. Okay, not a problem. So we executed the vivo, okay, and we got the row and okay. So here why it is giving read only, because there could be some parameters which are not updatable, that we have to check properly. Can you see EMP number is read only? It updatable is never, right? Updatable
Yes.
is never. So one basic thing is here, like generally when we use a vivo, mostly we use with vivo, if the vivo is created without entity object, we always use it for the purpose of read only, right? That is the understandable
Yes.
logic. That is the thing which we have been working so far. Whenever you are using a vivo without any entity object, it means that we are using only for the read only. But in our case here, we are using a vivo, but we want to perform the updation. We want to use a vivo, but still we want to perform the updation, and that updation logic will be done by the PL SQL. So in this one, what we have to do is, if you are using a vivo specially and we want to send the data to the database for the updation, what we have to do is every attribute, whatever you have, make them updatable always. Make them updatable always. Okay, clear?
Okay.
So this is required only when you want to perform updation, even though without using entity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So you may not get the direct error. It's very difficult to identify these kind of bugs. You will not get any direct error. It will never mention the parameter also. So that's a very difficult way to find. Here, apply.
Okay.
And now let's run the page and see the difference. Yeah, let's try again. Click on insert. Okay, got the difference now?
Yes, sir.
And it is inserting the row at some position. It is not finding out which position, but let us ignore as of now. Now it is inserting a row in the this particular vivo and this particular table at some position. Now assume that one example, observe carefully here. Let us say I will change this username to Ramesh123, and now I'll just insert a record called 123 Kajal. Now when I click on save, what should happen? What is expected behavior when you click on a save? When you click on save, what is expected behavior? What do you, as a business user, what do you expect?
Right now we row action here is button is not is clickable but not save.
No, what
An
I'm
error.
saying is, you leave about the logic. What I'm saying is, as a business user, what do you expect? What do you think that what do you think that functionality should be for the save?
Uh, we need to his job on MGR fill the data.
Not Kaja. What I'm saying is, now let us say I inserted this record and I updated this record. When you click on a save, you expect the data. You expect this data should be updated in the database, right? That is a basic behavior you expect, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Data saved successfully.
You want the data to be saved in the database, right? That is your expectation, right? You will not think about how to implement. You are not bothered about that, right? You are a business
Yes.
user. When you click on a save, you expect the data should be updatable in the database. That's it. That is what you want. But as a developer now, understand carefully here. Now we have the separate logic for the insertion, separate logic for the updation. How do you know which record is updated and how do you know which record is inserted? I mean to say, now for this user, I just changed the username only, and but for this user, I inserted the new record which is not available in the database so far. So this particular employee number 123 should be inserted, and the employee number 9001 should be updated. Understanding?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear now what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So the problem here is when you're using a Vivo object with the concept of PL/SQL API, we have to write a separate logic for the insertion, separate logic for the updation, and also we need to know which record is updated and which record is inserted. Now within the OAF Vivo, there is no concept to find out whether the record which is available now is from the database or from the Java. That we don't have as of now.
Oh,
Clear? So for that one, we
okay.
have an alternative logic. Let us implement that. So what I will do is, for each, I'll create a new column called new row flag. I'll create a column called new row flag. By default, the value will be either null or n. But when a user clicks on insert, the value of the new row flag will be y. So that is the first thing which we want to do now. Okay. I'll create a new attribute. What I'm telling you is, we'll create a new attribute called new row flag. You click on new, create a new attribute called new row flag, updatable always, string. So we'll leave out what is the value during default, but while inserting a new row, make sure that the value will be y. Set new row flag will be y. Okay. And for the developer purpose, during design, let us display the value also. Okay. The table region, click on edit. Okay, I'll display this. So this is only for developer purpose. This is not required to be shown when you implement the total page. Let's run the page again and see the difference. Now observe carefully here. What is the value of new row flag now? It is null
Yeah.
for the existing records which are retrieved from the database, right? These 5 rows are available from the database, right?
Yes.
Now check it again. Let us say I click on insert now. Now see the difference, right?
Yes.
Now when I click on save, what I can do? Wherever the flag value is y, I will call the insert procedure. Wherever the flag value is null, I simply call the update logic.
Updatable. Okay.
Clear, right? So
Yes.
this is how I can differentiate the insertion as well as updation, isn't it?
Okay.
Right? So there are some drawbacks, but leave over the drawbacks as of now. We'll just consider this particular very basic logic as of now. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let us write the logic. Now let us write the logic what to be done when user clicks on save. So now what I will do is I need to call an API call. We have to call our PL/SQL API from the Java, right? So here, this particular logic is very bigger one. So I need to copy it from my existing nodes. So I'll just copy that. This very bigger logic. Okay. So around 100 lines of code. So even I can't remember this. Okay. but I'll tell you each and every line of that what I have written. Okay. It seems very bigger logic, but it's very easier one. Only thing is, like it is difficult to remember the syntax, these things. So Java, we need to call this JPO domain date. Okay. And any other errors? It gives some error. Let me fix those things first. Okay, Oracle callable statement. We have to enable this one. JDBC. JDBC. Right. Just press Alt Enter. That's it. So it is still giving error, right? If you see, okay, here callable statement. Right. All the errors are gone now. Okay. So now what we are doing here is observe carefully. Now, when a user calls on a save, first of all, we want to call this particular method, emp insert PLC call API. So here, what are we doing? Get the Vivo instance, get the row instance, get all the rows where the flag value is Y. Right? Get all the rows where the flag value is Y. Right? Till this part clear? Line number 43.
Yes, sir.
Now, after that, read each and every row. Read each and every row. After reading the row, reset the flag values I. Okay, and get all the attributes like EMP number, name, salary, job, hire date, right? All the values, get it. Okay.
Okay.
So these are the temporary attributes, and I'm assigning all the values here. EMP number is equal row.get EMP number, row.get name, job number, manager, get hire date, salary, all these things. Correct.
Okay.
And after that, call your PLSQL API. This is the syntax: begin and end. Inside that, you just mention the API name. PLSQL, the package name dot procedure name with the parameters as well as binding sequence, which starts with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, and the last one is 10. Right? In this, we have in as well as out, both the things. 8 are input parameters and 2 are output parameters. 8 are input and 2 are output. So we have to use an API called callable statement. In the callable statement, we have to pass our SQL statement. My SQL statement is available in the SQL string, SQL. This is my string, right? SQL comma 1. You just need to mention 1 here. Like there is some particular default value we have to mention, just mention 1 there. In the callable statement API, what it requires is it just requires your SQL syntax, nothing but your anonymous block syntax. This is similar to your anonymous block syntax, right? Begin end followed by your API name. Right?
Okay.
And after that, we have to set each and every value. Nothing but you have to bind it, right? When you're calling the API, we just mentioned the binding parameter, but we have to pass the values also. So if it is an integer, we have to pass set int. If it's a string, we have to set the string. But if you are passing the null value, check out whether it is null or not. Based on that, you can pass the null value also. Because in the Java, null is different as well as single quotes is different, right? Let us say if you don't enter the value for the job, the value of job will be null. So what you have to do, you have to pass the null value. Don't pass the empty string; it will give an exception. You have to pass explicitly null here. Set null, then we have to pass the database null there. Okay. So this will do all these things. These all if conditions for the purpose of that only. Just check the null and set the value as null appropriately. And after that, as we have told you, there are 2 out parameters, right? We have to specially register them. Callable statement dot register out parameter, mention the binding sequence and mention the data type of the output parameter and set the size of them appropriately and then execute. This is a final statement. Until unless this before calling your execute, you have to set all the things. Set the input parameters properly, set the output parameters properly, and then call your execute statement. Clear?
Okay.
Once you call the execute, you can get the output parameter values. So here like a get string, the 9th parameter is string, so I can get my string here. 10th parameter is also string, I can get the string. And check out the return status as well as message. Check out the return status as well as message. If they are fine, then you can go on, like it will perform the remaining executions. This particular API we are calling for each record. Nothing but if you want 5 insertion to be performed, this will call 5 times. Because we are calling the insertion for each record level, not the batch level. Okay? So that is how it will be. Like we can have an exception here. We can just simply say throw new OA exception error inserting. Right? So this is a for loop end, right? This is, so here for loop ends, and here lastly just perform get OEDB transaction dot commit. Don't write commit in the database. Don't write commit in the PL SQL. Okay.
Okay.
Now we have to call this method when a user clicks on save. So I'll write one more method, save emp rows in DB. So because we have to write a separate logic for the insertion as well as updation, right? So now, as of now, we are performing only insertion. So that is why I'm calling another method called save. From the save, I'm calling the emp insertion. Later on, we have to write one more method for the updation also. So now call this particular method from the CO. Okay, got the idea? Or
Yes, sir.
so let's try. So check the rows as of now. Select start from emp. Hey, we have this many rows, right? But why it was displaying only 5? 18 rows are there. Okay. Okay. Oh, I think remaining rows are not having the department number. That's why. But 1 minute. Huh? What is the relationship between EMP here? Okay, it is because it is linked to View link or what? Right? I think there is some issue here, right?
The table columns. Hmm.
No, it is displaying only 5 records, right? What about these other records? Total there are 18 records.
Yes.
It is not displaying other records because this particular Vivo was related to View link, I guess. This particular Vivo was related to View link, right?
Okay.
That's the reason, like it is not working as expected. So what I will do is I'll just create one more Vivo now. New View object. I'll just say emp PL SQL Vivo, okay? Read only access. Select start from emp. Next. Next. So here I'll just create one more flag also, new row flag. New row flag. Next. So here select each and every parameter and set them as updatable always. Next. Generate the row MPL also. Finish. Assign the Vivo to the emp PL SQL Vivo. Observe here again. Check the attributes carefully. Can you see? It doesn't show updatable always now. We have to select manually. That's a bug in the OAF. While creating the Vivo, it says updatable always, but here when you see it explicitly, the updatable always is not checked. Okay, perfect. So I have to change the page also, right? What I will do is this DMP sample PL SQL, right? So here the problem is when you're creating the normal table, we have to change this particular Vivo at every place. So for each column, click here and change it here. Okay, for each column. Or else delete the table and recreate it again. Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to change any other place?
In this AM also.
AM also, right?
Yes.
So here we just need to change it, right? emp PL SQL get emp PL SQL. Here also emp PL SQL. Okay. Right. And here also. Okay. Yeah. Now let's try. Okay, we got one error. Check it. Okay, understood. Type casting issue. Yeah. Can you see? It is displaying all the records now, right?
Yes, sir.
That was the issue. Okay. Anyway, click on insert now. So it is inserting the data, the record at last, right? Last position, or maybe, yeah, here. But what happened to,
Y. New row flag Y.
yeah. Where is that empty row, first of all? Okay, it inserted first position or what? Yeah, here. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have to check this position logic. I'll show you. But as of now, let us see this one. Let us say my employee number is 311. Okay. Kaja 311. Okay. Manager. I'll just leave it the manager is all things and I'll say 9999. Okay. Now let us try. When you click on save, see what will happen. 311 should be saved in the database now if everything is okay. Right, it says database is data record is saved, and after insertion the flag value got changed to I. But check from the database perspective whether it got changed or not, whether it is having 19 records or 18 records. So can you see 311,
Yes.
right? So I'll try to delete from a few records now. Let us say delete from emp where manager is. No, I'll just delete these records. Okay, buddy. Okay. How come the constraint where manager is no? Okay, no problem. Anyway, so we have this 14 records now, right? Sorry, 19 records. Now let us try insertion. Are you clear or any doubts in this one? How we are performing insertion?
Open the logic, sir.
Okay.
Can you down, sir? Go below.
Line number?
72 onwards. Can you explain?
Okay. So here one more thing. See, first of all, if you see the for loop, we are getting all the records where the flag value is y. Right? Where the flag value is y, you're getting all the records. For each record, read all the data, and after reading the data, mention the API name. I just mentioned the insertion API here, OF emp utils dot insert emp, and then yeah, what is the issue?
Can you explain on callable statement onwards?
So here the first thing is you have to mention your SQL statement with this begin and end logic with your API name and parameter name as well as bind sequence. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And after that, there is Java API called callable statement. In this callable statement, you have to pass your SQL statement. Like, you know, when you call the dynamic SQL, you have to mention you have to prepare your SQL statement and you have to pass your SQL statement at runtime, right? In the same way,
Okay.
in the callable statement API, you have to pass your SQL statement, which will have the PL SQL logic. Nothing but which API you want to call. That particular API information should be available in your SQL string. So this is my SQL string. It can be any value here. It is not that it should be SQL. It can be anything. Like I can just mention SQL, str, or whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And after that, so we have to mention one here. So now I have to have a try and catch block for each and every parameter. Now I have 10 parameters, right? So 8 input parameters. For these 8 input parameters, I have to set the value, right? Before executing any of the binded, whenever you have any binding kind of concept, we have to pass the value before executing it, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Here we are setting only two values, sir.
Who
Employee
said?
number and
Who said? Check this proper logic, right? I'm setting all these things, right? If and else. Set see, because EMP number and E name is a mandatory. We cannot be null. That is why I'm not checking the if and else condition for that. But for other things, I'm
okay.
checking with the null value because they are not mandatory for us.
Okay.
Else we should simply, if they are not null, simply set them directly rather than checking the not null condition. Because the other parameters are not mandatory. If you get any exception, or maybe like you need to pass the null if the value is empty, right? That's why we have this if and else condition here.
Okay, sir.
If job is not equal to null, set string and pass the job. But if the job is null, pass the null value. Don't pass the string here because your PL SQL will give an error if you pass the empty string there. That is why we have to clearly pass the null value if your Java value is null.
Okay.
So for the remaining 6 parameters, I'm checking the not null condition. That is what I'm doing. Okay.
Okay.
And for the date, if you observe carefully, for the date, what is the thing we are doing here is we just need to pass set date and pass hide date dot date value. There's an this particular date belongs to oracle.jbo domain.data type, and there is a method called date value because like a PL SQL requires the date in appropriate format. Java will have different format. So but here the basic thing is we does not need to convert any formats here. Simply call the set date method and pass the value as your date dot date value. There is a method called date value which will return the appropriate SQL, your PL SQL required format. Okay.
Okay.
Now the string and the integer, yeah, they're simple. Set null, these all things. Check the value and set pass the appropriate things. And here the other thing is the register out parameter concept. We have to register the out parameters, mention the appropriate parameter binding sequence, mention the appropriate data types and their sizes, and after that call the execute method.
Okay.
Okay. And finally, after executing, you can call the return. If you want to find out what is the status, you can get the status, and based on the status, you can stop execution and you can raise an exception if needed, or else you can just iterate for the next rows. Clear?
No. Okay.
So this is for the insertion purpose only, because we are just calling only insert API. We are not working on update as of now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the other thing is like how do you, like when a user clicks on save, if you observe as a business user, when a user clicks on save, he does not bother about whether you're calling insert API or update API, right? Because he want the database update should be done. You want all the records to be available in database. Now, as of now, we just performed only insertion logic. Now, let us say if user changes the value of this particular username, something like 21 or 21. So this record has to be updated now, right? When user clicks on save,
Yes.
wherever the record got updated, that record has to be updated in the database. But how can you find which record is updated? So insertion, we are clear that like you will have the flag value. Based on that, you can find out. But for the updation, how do you find out which record should be modified? As of now, as far as I know, we don't have any logic to validate whether the record is modified by user or not. That we don't have as of now. Still, we can implement a logic, but like we have to perform record by record, column by column comparison, and if there is a change, then perform the updation. But that is a very complicated logic. So that is why time being what I will do is I'll just simply like if the record value is not y, I'll simply perform updation for all the records. It's kind of a bug kind of thing, but that's one of the easiest way. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
Okay. So let me write the update logic now. So update logic, simple again. The API is having the same set of parameters, only the API name is different. And as well as our condition will be different. That's it. One more thing is, here during load, we have to set all the values to n by default. Here you're not setting them, right? After execution, what we do is, after executing the Vivo, just do this particular logic. No, not rows. Okay. 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 Create a row set iterator. Okay. So now, right, iterator has next. Iterate all the rows. Iterate each and every row. Have the row impl also. Emp pl SQL row impl. Row is equal to null. Row is equal to row iterator dot next. Row dot set new row flag as n. Initially it is n. Okay. Clear? So during page load, the value will be n for all the rows.
Okay.
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 Now what we do, let us write the logic for the updation. So here, so this method is there, right? I'll just simply copy paste because it will be same again. So it's just simply same. So I'll just change it here. Emp update PL SQL API. Okay. And here the value of like which four rows you want to filter, you have to get all the rows where the flag value is n, and we have to change this API name. Instead of insert API, I'll call the update API, update EMB. But the number of parameters and everything is same, so I does not need to change any of this logic here. The below logic I does not need to change because it is having the same parameter, same sequence, everything is same. Okay.
Okay.
So one more thing, what you do is, so here we have this logic, right? So we can remove this logic from here. Okay. Now what we do is, we'll write this logic only once for the total save level. At this level, you just need to pass. What you do is, after insertion, call the updation emp update PL SQL API, and after call the commit method. Clear? First call the insert, then call the update, and later perform the commit.
Okay, sir.
So now run the page. Now let us try to validate the save functionality. Okay. Now for all the rows, the value of new row flag is n, right? Clear?
Yes.
Now what I will do is, for this user Kaja, employee number 7, I will update these values. I will update the manager number and I will update the hire date. Okay. Two values I'm updating for the user Kaja, employee number 7. Now click on save and check in the database now. Check in the database. Got it?
Yes.
Right? That's how we can perform the updation. Okay? And we can perform the insertion also now parallelly. Now click on insert now. So where it is inserting at, okay, first position. Now let us say I'll mention my username as 5213. Okay. Now 7839. Right? Right? Now I'm inserting this record, and also I'll update this particular username what to 521 like this. Okay. And check out
Okay.
now. 7521 5213. Okay. Got it? What happened to this
Yes.
username? It was not done, right? It was not updated. Hmm. 7521. Let me try again. It's 7521 only, right? 7521, yeah. Okay, I think, like here, maybe in the Java API, this particular PL/SQL API, we are not performing the updation for the EMP number, EMP name, I guess. Because ename and EMP number generally will never update. Yeah, we are updating, right? Update is there. Where EMP number is equal to EMP number, we are updating the job manager ename also is we are updating. Okay. So then there is some mistake here only, right? Then let me try again. Update, right? Update, EMP update, neuro flag is N, right? It's N. Get all the rows, get the data, update EMP, and then callable statement. Okay, let me do one thing now. Let us say here, I'll enable the debug now, okay? Enable the debug. Now run the page in the debug mode. Run the page in the debug mode. So the debug mode can help out, like what is happening, whether it is giving any exception or whether are we getting the filter rows logic there or not. We'll see. So here it has to read 20 records, right? 20 records it has to read. Let us say what again. I'll try 5, 2, 1. Click on save. Can you see? Now this got enabled. Check out here. What is the value of this one? Euro flag. It is 20, right? It is 20.
Yes.
So here I'll check only return status as of now. It does not need. Yeah. Let's see. Press F8. Okay. No issue. Yeah. Return status success, right? Again F8. Okay. Hmm. It's not giving any issue, I guess. Something strange. So here we are calling the insertion update, and after that we are calling this, right? So 7521 only. 7521 only. Yeah, now it got saved, right? You see. Do you see?
Yes, sir.
Right? Let me try again, okay? Maybe. Yeah, it should work now. Let's try. Can you hear me properly, or do you hear any disturbance?
No, sir.
Fine. Okay.
Perfect. No issues.
So this user, what 521, what I will do is, let us say what to SEP. I'll change it to what to SEP and click on one more record. So I'll just say 1001300. Okay, that's it. Now we need to see these two things, 7521 as well as 1000. 7521 and 1000. Just see what to SEP, new KJ. Perfect.
Yes, I'll get it.
Maybe we just got some issue initially, but now it's fine. Okay. So what is pending in this particular logic is like a deletion. Okay. So how do we perform deletion? How do we perform?
Mm.
We need to have a selection, right?
Yes, sir.
Selection and then call the appropriate deletion logic. Okay. So we'll see that logic tomorrow. Okay. So we'll see deletion as well as the second kind of concept. This one, the EVO logic. This EVO logic will be damn easy. It's very, like this is a preferred logic actually, but we have to know the internals, right? Like when you have any methods to be discussed, you have to know the optional things also, which is perfect, which is not perfect, which need to be called at what point of time. Because most of the developers, they prefer the first one, because some of the developers may not be available the second one, so they go with the first one only. That's the reason you have to know both of these things. Okay.
When
But
we have to use this type of logic, sir, PLSQL statements.
that is what I was telling, right? Initially, before telling this only, I told you, right? What exactly when you require this APIs. When you have any intensive DB validations required, let us say for inserting a record, you want to you need to perform 15 validations. What do?
Okay.
You have to call the PL/SQL API first, right? Because most of the validation will always through the database only, right? Most of the
Yes,
times.
sir.
Of course, you can write your own SQL, Vivo stuff, but still, let us say let us assume that like you have a custom. I'll tell you one example. Let us say I want to design my custom purchase order OAF page. Okay, for this one, the PL/SQL developer told you that like we already implemented a PL/SQL API. You just pass your data. You just pass your data, I will insert the data in the database. What will you do? Will you write your own logic? You will call the PL SQL API.
PL SQL API, sir.
That's it, right? That is what in these kind of scenarios you'll simply call the PL SQL API. You don't need to perform any PL, like UO logic. We will not perform that. Got it? And maybe during OF extensions you will clearly understand. There you have to call this PL SQL logic extensively, because you will have very limited functionality to be performed in Java. So the best thing which is available will be database.
Okay.
And maybe if you are aware or not, CVO extension, let us say, while inserting the let me tell you one simple example. Let us say I'm creating an I expense report, and whenever I select a project, I need to validate whether this project should be used by this user or not. How do you do that? You need either you require a Vivo or either you require a PL SQL or select query, I mean to say. So simply what I will do, I'll create a PL SQL function, I'll pass all the data of the function and just get the status. That's very easier for me. When you're performing extension, if you create any BC4J object, you have to assign to the aim, right? That's dynamic insertion is really crappy. It's very difficult.
Okay.
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 Yeah. Okay. I'll stop here and we'll see the things tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.